ma'am.
Okay. Uh, this is the all right. So this is the chapter that we are going to read today. But before we read the chapter, it's a long chapter. So what we are going to do is, I have prepared a summary of the chapter for you. Okay, 3, 4, 5. This is 5 pages of reading. So instead of reading for 5 pages, what I've done is I've prepared a summary for you. मैंने 2 चीजें की है. 5 pages का जो chapter है उसको एक छोटा summary में कर दिया. दूसरा, the new words in the chapter, I've tried to give you word meanings of those words. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you read this chapter on your own after the class, you'll be able to understand it. Okay, okay. Do
Yes,
you know
ma'am.
who Tenzing Norgay is? These were 2 people who had conquered the Mount Everest or climbed the Mount Everest together as a team. Okay. I'll just show you their photographs. These 2 people, what they had done was, both of them had Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay were 2 people who had climbed the Mount Everest in 1953. Okay, so this is about them. Okay, so this chapter is about this trip of theirs. So this is written by Tenzing Norgay, and this is Tenzing Norgay's inspiring account of how he and Edmund Hillary's historic ascent to the summit of Mount Everest on 29th May 1953. So he writes about this very challenging, very adventurous, and very brave journey that both of these took to conquer the Mount Everest, to reach the summit of the Mount Everest. Summit is top of the mountain. So they were able to reach the top of Mount Everest. And उस वजह से their name is written in history. History books में they are known as the first conquerors of Mount Everest in 1953. उस समय इतने scientifically developed अटायर भी नहीं था, एक्सेसरीज भी नहीं थी. आजकल तो साइंस इतना डेवलप हो गई है, इतनी तरह की चीजें बना दी है that you can reach there safely. Those days, the tools and accessories that these 2 had were very simple. So they were very brave to take up this journey. Okay. So ascent
Yes, ma'am.
means to climb up, to go up. Summit is the top of the mountain. Hazard is danger, khatra. It's very dangerous to go on the top
Yes,
of a mountain, right? There are no hospitals, there
yes,
are no
ma'am.
people, and you can get hurt, you can slip in the snow, and then the oxygen level there is very low. So there are a lot of dangers involved in going up to such a high mountain. So they left Camp 9 and alternated in leading the. So they took turns to lead. कभी एक lead करता था, फिर दूसरा lead करता था. That is alternate, right? They took turns in leading the perilous. Perilous means very tough, very hazardous, very challenging, very difficult climb. Tenzing carried flags of Britain, Nepal, UN, and India to plant at the top. And then he was carrying so much weight. He was carrying these flags and the sticks in which these flags were with him to plant at the top. The final incline is slope. The final incline was less dangerous but required caution. Caution, आपने देखा है कभी signs लगे होते हैं caution? Where do you find that sign? Where do you find that sign? Where do you find the sign that says caution? जहाँ पे खतरा होता है, जहाँ पे डेंजर होता है. So to warn people, आप देखोगे electric wires of very high power, you know, वहाँ पे there's always written caution. If there is a dangerous turn, there is a sudden turn in the road, there it says caution, so that people are careful there. Their teamwork was symbolized by the taut rope that kept them together. So besides working together, they were also tied together by a tight rope. Because एक पीछे रह गया, एक आगे चला गया, they can easily get lost, right? So they kept each other tied together by a tight rope. At the peak, they both felt exhilarated. Exhilarated is very, very, very happy. Extreme happiness. Too much happiness. Unbelievably happy. You know, when you do something exceptional. Okay, someone gives me a chocolate, it makes me happy. But to be very, very, very happy to get something, to be able to do something that was challenging and nobody had done it till now, and to be able to achieve that feat, do it safely. So they were both exhilarated. That means very happy and very excited and also grateful. They knew that without God's blessings, this would not have been possible. It was a very risky journey, full of hazards, full of danger. There were slopes, there was lack of oxygen, there were wild animals, and there was no GPS. Everything is covered with snow. So you don't know whether you're going in the right direction or not. So it was extremely challenging. Tenzing offered silent prayers and left small offerings. Silent prayers, you know, when you pray in your mind, you don't say anything aloud. That is silent prayers. And small offerings, when we go to a temple or to a gurdwara or any other religious place, we offer things, right? प्रसाद चढ़ाते हैं, फूल चढ़ाते हैं, फल चढ़ाते हैं, कपड़े चढ़ाते हैं. So people offer different things to God. So he also left small offerings for God at the Mount Everest, including a prized blue pencil from his daughter. So his daughter had given him a blue pencil as good luck, as talisman, and he left that. He gave it to God. He offered it to the divine. He left it there at the top of the Mount Everest. They planted the flags, took photographs, and reflected on their fulfillment. Fulfillment means fulfill, when you're able to achieve something. So you remember he was taking Tenzing was taking flags of Britain, Nepal, UN, and India. So they planted those flags and they took photographs to take back. And then they sat and talked about their achievements. They felt so blessed. They felt so grateful, but also exhilarated. Very, very, extremely happy, very happy for what they had been able to achieve with the blessing of God and their hard work. Tenzing wore his red scarf. Scarf is what you wear around the neck, you know. People wear in winters, especially, they wear scarves around the neck. That scarf. So Tenzing wore a red scarf given by his friend Lambert, feeling his presence spiritually. So he wore the scarf given to him by his friend, and then it made him feel as if his friend was with him. हम करते हैं ना जिसको हम बहुत प्यार करते हैं, हम कुछ उस इंसान का अपने साथ रख लेते हैं, तो जब हम उसको देखते हैं, it reminds us of that person, right? So this is what he had done. He had carried the red scarf of his friend, what his friend had given him, and when he wore that,
Yes, ma'am.
it felt to him as if his friend was with him there. He observed the terrain below, feeling everything like a map of broken pieces. So when he looked down from the top of the mountain, from the top of Mount Everest, everything looked very, very confusing, very broken, very haphazard. So from the top, it was very difficult to understand which mountain is what, which terrain is what. That's why he said it looked like a map of broken pieces. What is landscape in Hindi? Terrain. Bhupradesh.
Pradesh, ma'am.
भूप्रदेश. So ऊपर से जब इसने भूप्रदेश देखा तो उसको लगा ये तो ऐसा लग रहा है as if it is in broken parts. On the descent, if you see, this was ascent, climb up, descent, climb down, right? So they went up.
Yes, ma'am.
And they planted those flags, they took photographs, they had a conversation, they thanked God for this opportunity, they enjoyed that blessed moment, and then they came down the Mount Everest. When they were coming down, Tenzing ensured Hillary's safety, holding the rope tightly, recognizing that the climb down was even more arduous. Arduous means difficult. So Tenzing took care of Hillary while coming down, because when you come down, it is very easy to slip. And if you slip, you can break a bone, you can get hurt, you can go down a landslide, you can probably just vanish in the snow, right? It's extremely dangerous.
Yes.
So Tenzing was very
Yes,
careful,
ma'am.
and he held the rope very tightly, making sure that Hillary was safe. Because the way down was even more difficult and more dangerous. So arduous means difficult and treacherous means dangerous. Dangerous मतलब खतरनाक. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. They met at a lower camp with joyful greetings and even kerosene flavored tea, which Tenzing drank gratefully despite its peculiar taste. So then when they came down, they were able to reach a camp where there were people who congratulated them, and because the tea was made on kerosene
हो
stove,
आज
kerosene.
त्यांचं हॉटस्पॉट चालू करू नये मला
Beta,
आहे ना
are you talking to me, Beta?
नो मॅम
Okay. So kerosene is mitti ka tel. So the tea that he had actually tasted of mitti ka tel, because probably that is what they used to make that tea. तो वो फ्लेवर चाय में भी आ गया, but Tenzing was very happy to have that tea even though it tasted like kerosene, right? Because वहां पे इतना मुश्किल है कुछ भी मिलना. So even for that tea that tasted like kerosene, Tenzing was grateful, right? Throughout his journey,
येस मॅम
throughout his journey, Tenzing displayed patriotism. Patriotism is love for your country. Faith, faith in God, faith in yourself, faith in your abilities, and humility. Humility is opposite of pride. कहते हैं ना, वो बहुत अच्छा इंसान है, इतना समझदार है, फिर भी बड़ी नम्रता है उसमें, बहुत विनम्र इंसान है, बिल्कुल भी घमंड नहीं है कि मैं तो ये हूँ, मुझे तो ये आता है. सो दैट इज ह्यूमिलिटी. जब आप बहुत नम्रता से लोगों से व्यवहार करते हो, राइट, बहुत विनम्र रहते हो, नम्रता से काम करते हो, तो तेंजिंग बहुत ही एक विनम्र इंसान था. सो ही showed patriotism, that is love for his country, because he carried all those flags, right? If you see, Tenzing carried all those flags, right? So remember, he not only has to climb, he's carrying all this weight on his back and still trying to walk uphill. It is so challenging, but he did it because he loved his country. Also, his faith in himself. Faith is Vishwas. विश्वास, अपने में विश्वास, भगवान पे
येस मॅम
विश्वास, अपनी काबिलियत पे विश्वास. एंड ह्यूमिलिटी इज नम्रता, ऑपोजिट ऑफ प्राइड. घमंड का उल्टा होता है ह्यूमिलिटी. मतलब आपने बहुत कुछ किया लाइफ में, यू अचीव्ड अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, और कोई बोले आपने तो बहुत कुछ किया, एंड यू से नहीं, वो सब ऊपर वाले की मर्जी है. So that shows humility. You don't take pride in what you've done. You're like, हाँ हाँ मैंने किया है. You say नहीं, भगवान ने करवाया है, right? या सबने मिलके किया है,
येस
आप
मॅम
सबका आशीर्वाद है. So this shows humility and teamwork. You think they could have done this alone? Tenzing and Hillary were able to do this because they were together and they worked as a team. If they were alone without support, they could have got lost, they could have got, anything could have happened, right? But because they were together, they took care of each other and they were able to achieve this huge task because of teamwork. You see, Tenzing took care of Hillary and he held the rope tightly so that he doesn't get hurt while coming down. And when they were going up, they were tightly tied by a rope. They took care of each other. They took turns in leading the way. One by one, they led the way. So it was teamwork. They both did it together. Alone, it would not have been possible. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me see if you've got these word meanings. Tell me the meaning of summit. A, B, C, D. Summit of a mountain. This is a mountain and this is the summit. So, what is a summit? What is a summit, Peter?
समिट म्हणजे शिखर.
समिट का क्या मतलब हुआ?
शिखर.
शिखर. शिखर मतलब टॉप ऑफ अ माउंटेन, है ना?
यस मैम.
शिखर वही हुआ ना, बिल्कुल जो टॉप मोस्ट पार्ट है माउंटेन का, उसको कहते हैं शिखर, उसको कहते हैं समिट. वेरी गुड. ऑल्टरनेट. कई बार जब आप लिखते हो, आप कभी ब्लू पेन से लिखते हो, कभी ब्लैक पेन से लिखते हो. यू ऑल्टरनेट between the two pens.
मैम एक ढलान है, ढलान.
नहीं, ऑल्टरनेट होता है took turns. यहाँ पे देखो कहता है ना कि जब when they left the camp, they alternated in leading the way. कुछ रास्ते एक लीड करता था, फिर कुछ रास्ते दूसरा लीड करता था. One person did not lead,
यस मैम.
they took turns. So they alternated. Alternate means कभी ये कभी ये. This is alternate. ठीक है, तो took
यस मैम.
turns.
यस.
ठीक है, took turns. Incline. पहाड़ पे इंक्लाइन होता है ना, इंक्लाइंड होता है. इंक्लाइन प्लेन आपने पढ़ा होगा साइंस में.
यस मैम.
तो व्हाट इज इंक्लाइन?
ढलान.
ढलान. ढलान मतलब इन चारों में से ढलान कौन सा है?
मैम बी.
हम्म.
बी अ स्लोप.
वेरी गुड. स्लोप. एक्सेलरेटेड.
मतलब उत्साहित होने पर कैसा महसूस होता है? तो मैम हैप्पी एंड इंसाइटेड.
एक्साइटेड. बहुत अच्छे, शाबाश. टायर्ड नहीं, एंग्री नहीं, वरिड नहीं, हैप्पी एंड एक्साइटेड. तो बहुत बहुत खुशी होती है, एक अलग लेवल की खुशी. दैट इज एक्सिलरेटेड. तो टायर्ड, एंग्री, वरिड तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. ओके. टू क्वेंच थर्स्ट.
मैम सी. सेटिस्फाई थर्स्ट.
वेरी गुड. प्यास बुझाना. satisfy thirst. What does hazard mean?
मतलब मैम खतरे का क्या अर्थ होता है? डेंजर. बी.
Danger. खतरा. Danger. Very good. Perilous. It's in the perilous journey, the perilous climb.
Ma'am, B,
Risky.
C,
Very good. Risky.
yes ma'am.
खतरे वाला. Risky. Dangerous.
जोखिम भरा,
जोखिम भरा. बिल्कुल सही. Taut. They were tied by a taut rope. कि खुल ना जाए गलती से भी.
कसी हुई हो, मतलब बी का मैम.
वेरी गुड. कसी हुई. बी. टाइट. वेरी गुड. बिल्कुल सही. एक्सेलेंट. Peculiar.
मैम 9 नंबर का क्या?
हाँ 9 नंबर बेटा.
विचित्र का अर्थ मतलब बी स्ट्रेंज. स्ट्रेंज
स्ट्रेंज.
मैम.
बिल्कुल सही. स्ट्रेंज. विचित्र. अजीब व गरीब. टेरेन.
भूभाग मतलब ए लैंडस्केप.
लैंडस्केप. वेरी गुड. टेरेन. भूप्रदेश. लैंडस्केप. राइट.
यस मैम.
चलो शाबाश. Good to see you've mastered the vocabulary. Now let's look at the exercises in the book. ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है. What are the feelings and emotions of tensing after reaching the summit? Feelings, भावनाएं. What were his feelings after reaching the summit? This is the question we're looking at. Feelings and emotions of tensing after reaching the summit. Summit पहुंचने के बाद.
मैम प्राइड. प्राइड
Okay. Pride था.
एंड रिलीफ एंड डिसबिलीफ.
Hmm. Yeah.
ग्रेटिट्यूड.
Gratitude. Very good. And
ह्यूमिलिटी एंड रिफ्लेक्शन.
very good. Please write this down. Humility, gratitude,
एंड रिफ्लेक्शन.
exhilaration.
प्राइड.
पहले तो उसको बहुत गजब की खुशी हुई. ये हमने कर दिया. This was impossible, but we did it. So he's
यस मैम.
exhilarated. But I don't see pride anywhere. I just see lots and lots of happiness, but no pride. In fact, pride के बजाय he was feeling humility. And then he was thankful for all the people who gave him his who gave him their blessings, like his friend who had given him the scarf, his friend Lambert, his daughter who had given him that pencil, and okay, let's move on to the next question. So here, again, explain the qualities of tensing Norgay. One is, of course, he was patriotic. We saw that. And how do we know that? How do we know he was patriotic? He was carrying flags of 4 different countries on such a difficult climb up the mountain. He was also carrying 4 flags. That shows his. I told Colonel Hunt that I was carrying the Indian flag with me and I would like it to be on the top with other flags. This shows how patriotic he is. The other qualities that he shows in this is humility. How does he show humility? He says all the hills and mountains looked like gods and goddesses to me. So this shows that he felt small, he felt insignificant, he felt tiny. And the mountain, on the other hand, felt like gods and goddesses. So this line shows his humility. And he also felt very excited, exhilarated. And how do we know that? He says, I didn't feel tired. In spite of such a long, tiring journey, he didn't feel tired. He felt exhilarated. He felt excited. He felt very happy. And he says there was no sign of tiredness. There was just a lot of
Yes, ma'am.
happiness. So we're looking at this question. Isme, we are writing the qualities that he shows and the line from which we know. So patriotic is already given. So we are looking at humility. Which lines show humility? And he says that he says all the hills and mountains look like gods and goddesses to me. This is a sign of humility. He didn't feel like I have conquered the mountain. I'm bigger than the mountain. I'm stronger than the mountain. He felt the opposite. He felt like the hills and mountains were like gods and he's just blessed to be there. So instead of feeling like a conqueror, he felt tiny, he felt small, he felt insignificant. So he was full of humility instead of pride. Okay, the second quality
Yes.
that he
Yes,
shows
ma'am.
is exhilarated, very happy. And how do we know he's very happy? Because in spite of such a long journey, he says, I was not tired. He says, I didn't feel tired. My mind was absolutely clear. And physically also, I was not tired at all. So this shows how happy he was. This is what happens, right? When we are very happy, हमें थकान का एहसास ही नहीं होता. This is what happened with him. He says, my mind was absolutely clear and I didn't feel tired. Okay, what is the third quality they shows? Is he's a team player, right? One quality he has is he's a team player. He's not only concerned about himself but also about his partner. So he's a team player. So he takes care of his partner at every step of the excursion. At every step, he's not thinking only about himself, he's also thinking about his partner. So this shows that he's a team player. He's not just someone who's concerned about himself, but he's also concerned about and also his faith. If you remember, we did this in the summary. Throughout his journey, he displayed patriotism, faith, humility, and teamwork, proving himself to be a true hero. How does he show faith? If
Ma'am,
you see,
patriotic,
नहीं,
determined.
faith कैसे दिखाया उसने? If you see on top, he treats it like a mandir,
Ma'am,
like a temple, like a religious place, you know, when he,
yes, ma'am.
where is it? Yeah, here. He says, I offered a silent prayer in my heart. So he's offering a prayer. That means he has faith in God. Only a person who believes in God will offer prayers, right? And he had carried
Yes, ma'am.
offerings to God in accordance to his religion. And the offerings were biscuits, candy, a blue pencil his daughter had given him. And she asked him to put it at the top of the mountain as her offering. She said, Papa, ये मेरी तरफ से आप वहाँ पे चढ़ा देना. So they're treating the top of the mountain, the summit of Mount Everest, as a holy place. So this shows faith, right? इसमें आप देखो, इस सारे में he had blessed me with fulfillment. So he had failed 6 times. My first thought on reaching the top was a sense of gratitude to God. After having failed 6 times, he had blessed me with fulfillment of this desire I had held for so long. So if you see all these 3 paragraphs, they talk about his faith in God, his trust in God, his respect, his gratitude for what God had given him. Of course, it was his hard work, but he knew that just hard work is not enough. He also needed divine blessings. And he was a Buddhist, so treating the top of the mountain, the top of Mount Everest, the summit, as some kind of a temple, he offers it all the things that he says, that are offered in my religion. So biscuits, candy, and then he also made an offering on behalf of his daughter because she was not there with him, but she has sent her offering through her father. She asked me to put it on the top of the mountain as her offering. It was an ordinary blue pencil, not even a long one, but it was one of her prized possessions. So the girl also gave something which was valuable to her. Right? Okay. Moving on. So this is what we've discussed. Now, what is the significance of the following on the summit? Red scarf. Why was the red scarf important? So the red scarf was given by his friend Lambert, who had led a Swiss expedition in 1952. So he was a leader, and that was his way of saying that my blessings are with you. That is why that red scarf was important to him. It was given to him by another explorer, another person on the same journey, and he understood his feelings, right? So that is why that scarf was special. That scarf was a sort of blessing. That scarf was a sort of presence of Lambert with him on the summit. Even though he was not physically present, he sent his blessings in the form of this red scarf. That is why this red scarf was important to him. Kerosene flavored tea. What is the significance of the kerosene flavored tea? Kerosene flavored tea. Tell me.
केरोसिन स्वाद वाली चाय.
हाँ, तो केरोसिन स्वाद वाली चाय क्यों इम्पोर्टेंट है? क्योंकि वहां चाय मिलना इतना मुश्किल है कि भाई केरोसिन फ्लेवर्ड भी चलेगी. On such a big, such a high mountain, on such a faraway peak, there is no fuel, there is no raw material, very limited raw material in terms of milk, sugar, tea leaves. सामान इतना कम होता है कि जैसी भी मिल जाए चाय वो सर माथे पे, right? So that is why kerosene flavored tea is important. I'm sure at any other place he would not have had that tea. He would have said, what nonsense, I'm not having this tea. But on the summit, even a tea that is flavored, is kerosene flavored, is still welcome, because it's so cold, one, and then secondly, you can hardly find anything there, right? And what is the significance of, what is this pronunciation? Husier here means, it says caution. So why was it more important to be cautious while coming back?
Yes, ma'am.
Why? Because when you come down, it's more slippery, it's more dangerous. The possibility of getting hurt or falling or having an accident is more. That is why more caution was required when they were coming down. right? What is the significance of the ice axe? What was the significance of the ice axe? They used an ice axe because they won't have to carry that axe down, right? It's an ice axe, so it's going to melt. So they don't have to carry that weight. Anchor. What is the importance of an anchor in mountaineering? You see, when people are climbing a mountain, they need an anchor. This is an anchor.
मतलब मैम वो उस पर लटक के ऊपर चढ़ते हैं.
हाँ, तो वो कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है, स्पेशली सी बर्फीले इलाकों में. If you don't have an anchor, you can fall, you can slip, right? Look how people are using anchors in the snow. Snow anchor. Do you see this? And there's a lot of snow on Mount Everest. So this is how anchors are used on the mountain. So the anchors stop you from falling. They stop you from losing your way and make sure you're going in the right direction, right? They stop you from getting hurt. So anchors are very important. Without anchors, it's not possible to have a safe journey. Okay? I want you to complete this table on your own. This is very simple. You have to add suffix comes at the end of the word and prefix comes at the beginning of the word. Pre means pehle, suffix means baad mein. Right? Absolute, absolutely. Fulfill, fulfillment. Determine, determination. Danger, dangerous. Tight, tightly. Clearly, surely, legally. Legitimate will be illegitimate. Impossible. Unclear. Unsure. Unfulfilled. Right? Try and attach these to these words and see what words you get. Okay? And
fulfillment.
yes. Chalo, we'll see if we need to. You should be able to do these questions and make sure you do attempt the. I will share the summary with you, but write in your own words what you read in this chapter. Okay, beta? All right, beta. I'll see you in the
Yes,
next
ma'am.
class. Bye.
Yes, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye, beta.